I cannot believe we are here doing this again. Here we are in the virtual world of Creative Mornings Portsmouth. I am so pleased to be here this morning with so many fine people. I'm Noelle Grattan. I am the lead host organizer for the Creative Mornings Portsmouth chapter. I also run a graphic design studio in Kittery, Maine called Five Line Creative. And I'm joined by my fabulous co-host.
I'm Monty Bohannon. I am the co-host of Creative Mornings and the communications and community engagement director at the Music Hall in Portsmouth. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to see you all.
It's so great to have everyone here, even in this virtual world still that we're so familiar with. So Creative Mornings is a global breakfast lecture series. There are over 220 plus and counting chapters all over the world that run these all free, always amazing events locally in their own cities. We are the smallest and the mightiest chapter of Creative Mornings still after all this time. We are in our 6th year here on the Seacoast, which is hard to believe. It's super exciting. And we're so thrilled to have you here with us. Creative Mornings actually runs on an engine of generosity and goodness. You are all here free attending these events, and we can't do it without sponsors. Monty, you want to introduce our first sponsor?
Yes. So the Creative Mornings global sponsor is MailChimp, a email platform. And we are very thankful to have them for our global sponsor. And they've got this new benchmark report just out. If you want to find out how you stack up against your peers, MailChimp's got you covered. 2022 MailChimp and Co. benchmark report. Find insights from freelancers and agencies across the globe who've generously participated in our worldwide survey. So check that out.
Awesome. Yeah, MailChimp has been a supporter of Creative Mornings for 13 years and counting, which is really incredible. And we're super grateful to have them. But we also can't do this without local support. The Music Hall, my heart goes out to all. The Music Hall has been a presenting partner with Creative Mornings Portsmouth for several years now. We are part of their Innovation and Leadership Series, which is brought to the community by University of New Hampshire, Atlantic Orthopedics, Sports Medicine, Bangor Savings Bank, the media partner, New Hampshire Public Radio, and the interconnections side of things at the Music Hall is presented by Kennebunk Savings. Those local partners support the Music Hall. The Music Hall in turn supports Creative Mornings. And we could not be more grateful for the support, the ongoing support, enthusiasm, time, dedication, especially to you, Monty. I'm so grateful. So thank you. I also want to put just a little pitch out there that we are assembling our sponsors for our local chapter for the 2022-23 season of Creative Mornings. We need you. So those crawlers behind Monty's head, we need those. We need coffee. We need energy. We need volunteers, people willing to help post on social media or get the word out, or whatever your special superpower is. We need sponsors and volunteers for our local chapter. So if you're interested, you can drop us an email at portsmouth@creativemornings.com. If you think you have a good idea for a speaker or something you'd like to see our local chapter do, we're always all ears and ready to hear from you. So we hope to hear from you for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of the Music Hall, we've got a few big announcements coming up. The space where we used to meet in person was called The Loft. We are relaunching it this summer with a big redesign as the Music Hall Lounge. So look for that. There's some videos up online of sort of the construction process and all the shows we've got up on sale. It's going to be really amazing, and it is going to be so much fun to be back in person for Creative Mornings at our new space. And Just one other quick thing, our annual Fill the Hall food drive that we do in partnership with Gather as part of our Interconnections program, sponsored by Kennebunk Savings, which is also a sponsor of Exeter, this program today. Interconnections focuses on climate change, leadership and entrepreneurship, addiction and recovery, social justice, anti-racism and human rights, education, accessibility and inclusion, and isolation and mental health. This particular program, we try and fill every single seat and then some in the music hall with a bag of food for Gather's Summer Meals for Kids program, in which they feed 700 Seacoast kids 10 meals a week for the 11 weeks of summer. And if you're seeing this picture on your screen right now, if every seat is filled, that accounts for 1 week of that. So we need your help. Wow. It is Sunday, June 26th, 9 a.m. to 3 at the music hall. You can drop a bag of food off. We actually had folks bring a literal boatload last year. They towed their boat in full of food. It was pretty great.
And you don't have to bring it in those fancy bags that they have there in that photo. You just can bring up with a handful of canned goods in your arms. And it's super easy to participate. The music hall volunteers and that whole Gather community is there ready to just help you keep it easy to just drive up and drop off your donations. So It's a really great event. It feels good. Everyone, the energy around it's really awesome. So mark your calendars.
And if you can't make it in person, you can donate online. Cash also works.
Absolutely. Never a problem, right, Monty?
Right.
We will take donations in any form. Cash is always good. Okay.
Beautiful.
So moving along, why we're all here this morning, and we want to keep our focus on why we are here, which is to hear from the incredible students at Exeter High School. This is our second year doing this show with Racial Unity Team at Exeter High School. We had an amazing experience last year with the team over at Exeter, and we are excited to bring them back again. So the Racial Unity Team and Exeter High School participants actually are going to be taking over as co-hosts this morning. Monty and I are going to get to witness the event as a participant, and we're going to hand over the microphone to our student hosts. They are Anna Lieberman and Nick Greco from Exeter High School. They also participated in the Racial Unity Arts in Action project, and we're super happy to have them and their peers here this morning. So take it away, Anna and Nick.
Thank you. I'm Nick Greco.
I'm Anna Lieberman.
We're very excited to present Arts in Action, a community-to-school partnership collaboration between our English teachers at Exeter High School and the Racial Unity Team.
So just for a little bit of background, this is the second year of Arts in Action at EHS. This project continues to connect students to artists, poets, writers, podcasters, and other creatives who inspire us to ask, not why should I try, but how can I get people to listen to me?
This year, Arts in Action grew to include as many as 200 students who saw the Clint Smith Zoom live to talk about poetry. And most of them went on to produce work for the Arts in Action project, which asks, what change do you want to see in the world?
Today, we are here to showcase 2 slam poets and 4 Arts in Action projects. So before we jump into our first slam poem, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge the support of our sponsors. This project is funded by the NH State Council on the Arts, National Endowment for the Arts, NH Charitable Foundation, and Kennebunk Savings.
Our first performer is Skylar Putnam with their poem, My Address.
My address, 50 West Side Drive, 6 residents, 4 bedrooms. Quiet, empty, calm. A warm and fuzzy summer breeze. A few pictures I've seen come to mind. A bit simple, but it has everything you need for a family. 11 Boulder Brook Drive, Unit 2. 4 residents, 2 bedrooms. A condo, attached to 4 others. A nice big parking lot for racing, and a backyard with trees for climbing. Close to school and my favorite store. Tiled floors and yellow walls. I line my stuffed animals on my bed before I go to sleep. I call my mom to say goodnight. 82 Railroad Ave, Unit 2. 3 residents, 2 bedrooms. Swaying, crashing, spinning in circles, a train horn wails in the distance and the earthquake stops. I go back to sleep. The next morning, my mom naps on the couch as the Ellen Show plays on the TV. 17 Pleasant View Drive, 5 residents, 3 bedrooms. A new dog. This will distract me for a while. Everything seems exciting and new. We're renovating the house, I'm in first grade, and I just made the bestest friends across the street. Dad starts sleeping in my room. 25 Pine Meadows Drive, 2 residents, 2 bedrooms. My best friends are here. They will forever be my best friends, and nothing will ever happen to us. I am finally feeling like myself. But my mom is always on the phone laughing after she tucks me in. 9 Hodgkins Road, 5 residents, 4 bedrooms. Summer, step family, yelling. I relived the long nights of my childhood. Drinking, a different person, same problems. Screaming, a different smell. Drinking, swimming, wet leather and salty tears. Summer, I'm leaving. It was inevitable, but if I knew where I was going, would I want to stay? 59 High Street, apartment C. 2 residents, 1 bedroom. Mom said she got an apartment up here to make getting to school easier. Then why do we spend Christmas here? 5 Allen Street, 3 residents, 4 bedrooms. A fixer-upper, my dad said. 7 years later, not much fixing up has happened. Probably because you don't need to have a house to be nice and stylish to live in it. It doesn't need to have all the right number of bedrooms for it to be a home. Home is a place where you have everything you need for a family. So maybe plan ahead.
Thank you so much, Skylar. That was wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not much of a poetry unit was not my thing, but Skylar killed that. That was great, Skylar. Thank you. Next up, you're going to meet Marley and Megan, 2 students who have tackled a big problem, homelessness. Let's learn how eating goods and help solve homelessness in the Seacoast area.
Okay, so thanks for the introduction. I know what you're all thinking and how it seems like a really far-fetched idea, but hear us out and it will all make sense in the end.
I hope you're all familiar with the concept of homelessness, but in essence, homelessness is the lack of safe, stable, and adequate housing. Homeless people have a mortality rate 11.5 times higher than a homeless person, as well as higher rates of incarceration and contagious disease.
And during all of this hardship, they face intense discrimination from the public. The Boston Police, for example, was criticized in August of 2019 of crushing used wheelchairs from homeless residents in the back of garbage trucks. Bystanders saw them take 3, and then they were ordering their homeless owners away from the Boston Met.
In September of 2019, the Trump administration released a statement claiming homeless people stay homeless because they are too comfortable living on streets, and called for using policing as a tool to help move people off the streets. Policing is not a tool meant to stop homelessness. Convicting homeless people only keeps them on the streets for longer. It doesn't help them very much.
Mm-hmm. It makes it so they can't have access to housing, jobs, and other support resources. And specifically, homelessness across the Seacoast area can be much harder to spot because we don't have cities like Boston or New York in the area. I mean, we have Boston, but it's not like we have a ton others. And since, but I can promise you, homelessness is just as present. 4,451 individuals experienced homelessness in New Hampshire in 2020. The Homeless Services Management Information Systems, aka the HMIS database, has recognized about 580 chronically homeless people in New Hampshire. And here are some statistics.
The average rate of homelessness increased 21% from 2020 to 2021. Over 1/3 of the homeless population is living unsheltered, meaning they live on streets and not in homeless shelters. More than 40% of homeless children, over 40% of children that experience homelessness are under the age of 6.
And so now all of this sounds incredibly horrible and daunting, and it is. But luckily, we have amazing organizations like Seacoast Family Promise that are dedicated to fighting it. They're a neighbor helping neighbor organization serving families with children in the Seacoast area. Families accepted into the program learn how to get back on their feet financially and emotionally.
They receive financial budgeting and life skills education, employment and housing research assistance, resource referrals, and access to community support services.
So they have a quote, which is, "We envision a community in which every family has a home, a livelihood, and a foundation on which on which to build a better future together."
As part of a combined history and English project with the goal of accomplishing something to better our community, we decided we wanted to help tackle this issue. Through fundraising, we raised $998.26. We contacted Seacoast Family Promise and asked what the best way of spending the money would be. We weren't sure if we should purchase physical supplies for them or just donate it to them directly. We ended up spending $114 on socks and donated the rest directly to them.
So it's a bit laggy, but there are the photos of the socks that we bought, and that on the one side is a picture of me actually delivering them. Forgot. She goes Family Promise.
We aren't done here though. This is where the baked goods come in.
So we want to talk with local businesses to see if they would be willing to bake things for the cause, and part of the proceeds would go to Seacoast Family Promise. The slideshow is a little bit old, so it still has us wanting to speak at Creative Mornings, so mission partially accomplished, I guess. And finally, we want to sell as much as possible to maximize the profits going to Seacoast Family Promise.
What we want the people in the area to do is to buy baked goods. It's a win for everyone. You receive baked goods, and Seacoast Family Promise gets more funds to help support people in our community.
Great job. That's an amazing feat that you've accomplished. I just have a couple of questions for you both. Can you tell us why you chose this project and how the partnership progressed?
So, I've had this whole idea of helping homeless people for a bunch of years now. Basically, when I was in like about 5th grade, my family at the dinner table one day was doing one of those conversation box things where you get a prompt and then everybody answers it. And somehow we got to talking about homeless people in Boston, and I got really like into the idea of helping them. And so with much help from my mom and my brother and my father, I raised like $500, and I spent it on making care packages with food, like containers, gloves, socks, and other assorted items, and I handed them out to homeless people in Boston. So when I got this project this year to do something better in my community, I immediately thought of doing something like that, but on a larger scale and helping families kind of at the root rather than just cleaning up the mess afterwards. And now here we are.
Great, thank you.
Marley's the one who comes up with a lot of the ideas, and they're usually very great, but sometimes they can be a little bit unachievable. Every team needs someone who dreams a lot and a person who's a little bit more on the realistic side. I think that we pushed each other a lot and we were able to create something really good.
Thank you. Next up, we have a powerful spoken word and PSA video by freshman Sarah Hansen. It makes the point that we need more women in leadership positions, and we need them now.
It's 2022. Cars that run on electricity fill the streets. Smartphones which can recognize our faces run our lives, and artificial intelligence which can outsmart humans is being innovated every day. It seems like a perfect reality, all of these mountainous accomplishments. But when we look closer and pull aside the curtain, we can see the hidden malices and the concealed injustices. We can see that the people running these empires, running our countries and controlling our very lives, have yet to account for half of the people of the whole earth. We can see so many women and girls aspiring to success, dreaming of accomplishing great things in their lives. They go to college and strive to be the best, and they accomplish these academic goals. But this is just school. After transitioning to a profession, women are frequently sidelined by their once inferior competitors. It's as if they are athletes who never get time on the field, who simply warm the benches each game with their immaculate jerseys, longing to play but being forbidden by the coach. It's as though they are put on the back burner for the sole reason that they are not males, that society thinks that they do not have what it takes, that everyone else assumes that a female cannot lead. People say, never judge a book by its cover, but covers are judged all the time. And it's not just prejudices that keep women and girls out of authority. When men look to their bosses and coworkers, they see a network of other males doing the exact work that they aspire to. Yet, women look to their superiors and see the opposite gender with whom they might not feel comfortable creating a professional relationship. Women and girls starting out on the wrong foot can only provide for more issues along the road. Prejudices only get harsher, creating an environment which causes many women to give up on their ascending careers. This vicious cycle essentially kills off the population of females in leadership positions. Without women in power, we are failing to hear so many viewpoints, hear so many stories, and experience the influence of so many amazing people. It's 2022. We've accomplished so much thus far, and yet we still tend blindly to the fact that we lack female leaders. It's well past the time for women and girls to step into the roles of leadership.
Wow, that was incredible. So we heard you got to work with the Racial Unity Team's mentor, Doug. Tell us a little bit about the collaboration and what it did for your final project.
Yeah, so working with Doug was a really great experience. When we met over Zoom, he immediately recognized what my goal was for my final project. And it was really great to share ideas with him to figure out what we wanted the final presentation to look like. What he did was he actually found a really nice soundtrack, as you guys just heard. And I think that really enhanced kind of the main message of my presentation. And kind of speaking of that main message of we need more females in leadership, I think that issue is really important for someone like me, a young woman, to address, just because that is the future of us. That is something that we need to speak about and we need to act on right now.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up, we have a powerful podcast about the importance of reading diverse books by diverse authors. We have Hayden Bullens and Brianne Daly, who were inspired in part by a student who presented at last year's Creative Mornings. Her name was Ingrid, and her presentation inspired the Bookshelf Diversity Grant, which I'm told has more than tripled this year. Let's hear this incredible podcast and see how the idea of a bookshelf diversity is living on.
Hi Bookworms, I'm Hayden. And I'm Brianne. And today we're going to talk about the importance of reading.
Yes, this may sound like an elementary school lesson you've heard too many times, but it's more important than you might expect.
Roughly 23% of adults in America haven't picked up a book in over a year.
She said that right, a full year. And not only does reading have effects on your mental, but also your physical health.
So join us on our mission to educate ourselves and others and make a difference in our communities. In this week's episode, we will also provide you with book recommendations to help you diversify your bookshelf and tell you how we are making a difference.
So let's start off with the facts.
Books help reduce stress by 68% after reading for only 6 minutes.
Wow, 68% is a lot for such a short amount of time. With those numbers, people should be able to read at least a little bit every day.
I know, right? And reading is better at reducing stress levels than drinking tea, going on a walk, playing video games, and even listening to music.
So next time your mom wants you to go for a walk, just pull out your book and read away.
Welcome back, Bookworms. Brianna's going to talk a little bit more about the benefits of reading.
Books shouldn't just be a priority for older audiences. Even as a child, books help to socialize and introduce them to different topics, characters, and storylines to help them become more accepting, understanding, and educated. I know as a kid, I wasn't the only one who idolized the characters within my books, and that's why it's so important that each one should be filled with protagonists who exemplify what we should strive to be.
Yes, that's true. Books also help with communication and vocabulary skills, especially in younger audiences. but it can also help in older audiences. My grandfather reads every day, and it has helped him to maintain a lot of his memory even at an old age.
Yeah, my dad reads to my little sister every night, and my household wouldn't be complete without our bookshelves.
So, what is on our bookshelves? It's important for our bookshelves to be diverse because it helps increase the theory of mind, which is like stepping into someone else's shoes. And this is important even in the world of literature. So today we will share with you some of our favorite books to help diversify your shelves.
Number 1.
The Hate You Give. So I've read this book a little while back, and I have to say it really has made an impact.
Can you describe it a little bit for our listeners?
Of course. The Hate You Give follows a 16-year-old Star Carter as she moves between two worlds, the poor neighborhood where she lives and the fancy suburban prep school that she attends. Her worlds crash and burn when she witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend at the hands of a police officer. The novel focuses on the healing process and Star trying to come to terms with her new life.
Wow, so I would assume this book covers topics like race, prejudice, grief, and power, and I have to say it's famous for a good reason.
Yeah, I agree and would recommend everyone reads this book.
My book recommendation is more on the younger side. Growing up, I loved the colorful illustrations found within graphic novels, and El Defo was a book that really stuck with me.
Oh, what's that one about?
El Defo is a loosely based autobiography of Belle, the author's childhood and life growing up deaf. Dealing with the awkwardness of hearing aids and the alienation due to her condition, this book is a funny and simple read that I really enjoyed.
That sounds really good and impactful for young readers.
I'm sure we have dozens of other books to share, but that's all we can fit in today. If you want to check out a few more recommendations, please find the resources we are sharing with local libraries.
After talking about those resources, let's share what we did to make a local impact.
Over the past couple weeks, we've been working on a project through our English class. In hopes of making a difference in a topic we are passionate about, we decided to create a pamphlet which we could share to local libraries.
Exactly. We shared a couple interesting facts and the benefits of reading, a list of book recommendations for both kids and teens, and even a fun word search on the back.
When giving them to each location, we asked them each one simple question. In your opinion, why is reading books, and specifically diverse books, important? And here is our favorite response from one of the incredible staff members at the Wigan Memorial Library.
Reading diverse books is important for a number of reasons, and having access to diverse books is important for a number of reasons. But one of the biggest reasons is a theory called windows and mirrors. And so it's important for kids and grown-ups and really everybody to see themselves in books. So that's the mirror. The other part of it is that you'd also want to be able to see outside yourself. So that's the windows part, where it's like, if your experience is just one experience, it's great to be able to see how other people live their lives, and it's important.
As you can tell, they all find it to be a topic that's important to them, and that's why it should be for you too.
By picking up a new book from your local library,
Starting a family book club like I'm doing with my sister,
or even just asking a teacher for their recommendation.
books are tools that are there for us. See you next time, bookworms!
What a fantastic podcast. I hear you submitted it to the New York Times Student Podcast Contest, and I would like to wish you the best of luck. So, my class saw the intro to podcast video from Creative Guts too. Did this inspire your project?
Definitely. I think in the beginning of our research and kind of our idea process of this whole project, we got a lot of inspiration from the mentors that were shown to us, and especially Creative Guts, simply because it was that podcast format that we were interested in kind of recreating. And especially Ingrid's idea, I think that was something that we wanted to both kind of collaborate to kind of create this project.
Yeah, at the beginning, we both had two separate projects. Mine was about the importance of reading, and Brienne's was about book diversity. And we both had similar end goals that we want to meet. And we decided it would be a great way to collaborate, and Creative Guts really showed us a good way to be able to do that and have a great final product.
And in the chat, there should be a link to our pamphlet that we created. This is kind of an easy and accessible way to kind of interact with our community and kind of a good way to share our information. Obviously, in the podcast, we talked a bit about it, but I think it was just kind of a great way to connect all that we wanted to share.
Thank you both. Next up, we have an informational cooking show regarding misconceptions about MSG and a delicious recipe for cooking chicken and corn soup from freshman Hannah Cass.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Hello, classmates. Today we will be making chicken corn soup. It's simple and easy and uses MSG, but you'll learn about that later. Let's start by pouring in 32 ounces of chicken stock into a large pot. Now let's cut up one chicken breast. Now that that's done, let's add in 1 can of unsweetened corn and the chicken into the stock. Next, we'll season a dash of pepper, some turmeric for color, and of course, MSG. Turn the heat up to high, and while that starts to boil, let's talk about MSG. Let's first establish this. It has been scientifically proven numerous times that MSG does not cause severe symptoms and is indeed healthy. And yet, 42% of Americans think that MSG is bad and actively try to avoid MSG altogether. Let's break down some of the misconceptions around MSG. To start, MSG is monosodium glutamate, meaning it's salt and glutamates. MSG is naturally found in things like tomatoes, walnuts, cheese, and more. So why does it become a problem when it is used as a seasoning in Asian restaurants? It started with a report published by the New England Journal of Medicine. It was titled Chinese Restaurant Syndrome, though the syndrome is now known as MSG symptom complex. The report explained symptoms like nausea, headaches, hot flashes, and more. The report flourished into a giant misconception that still affects Asian Americans today. It is due to the xenophobia in America surrounding Asian American cuisine. Basically, MSG is FDA-approved delicious umami seasoning, but it's just misunderstood. Now, back to cooking. Now that it's boiling, let's add a cornstarch slurry, equal parts cornstarch to water. Crack in 3 eggs into a bowl. Whisk lightly and we'll add it to the boiling soup. We'll add the eggs into the soup. Put it in. Whisk for a few seconds and then leave. And that's it. Now let's serve up the soup. To top, add a drizzle of sesame oil and a few sprinkles of green onions. And that's it. But for more information, see the links below. I love it. He's so cute, I love him.
That does sound delicious. What inspired you to choose this topic, and what was your favorite part of this project?
Well, when my teacher first introduced the project, I knew I wanted to do something that was really personal to me. And so since I'm half Japanese, I wanted to focus on Asian American and API hate. And then I also sort of wanted to connect it to cultural foods and then just sort of, I don't know, show it in a way that is really fun. And so, yeah, I remember this podcast that I listened to, which was about MSG, and it perfectly sort of combined all the ideas that I wanted to present. And so I just researched MSG and all the ideas just sort of fit perfectly together. Yeah, and then my favorite part about making the project would definitely be recording the video. My friend had a really cool setup with a microphone and a tripod and all that. Yeah, and it was just really fun to play around with all the angles.
Thank you. And now we're going to end how we started with an incredible slam poem called Cauldron by Marley Belcher.
The first B I got was in math, 7th grade. Integers were never my friends.
They were the ghouls that hid in the shadows. I thought my future was ruined. I would end up dropping out of school and all hope would be lost. All through elementary and middle school, learning was my life. An easy ride on cloud 9, no bad grades, and an avid spirit. Then high school crept into the picture. From freedom and ease with the snap of fingers to a world caving in. Anxiety. A constant anguish snaking up your spine, threatening to burst from the pressure. Once the cauldron bubbles, it flows over the rounded edge, drip, drip, dripping as it brings tears to my eyes. Double, double, toil and trouble, a drop of the past, a pinch of the future, a repeated spell that always brings pain. One wrong stir and I have plunged into the empty abyss. All my screams, my tears, my cries for help cannot scale the curved walls of this cauldron. The stew of thoughts, worries, and fear pour over my soul, drowning me in a potion of my own creation. The evil witches of catastrophe tease me from the rounded rim, spilling more and more over my head. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't try. I can't still try. Through the bubbling brew, a calloused hand appears, a sign of hope, the sliver of light at midnight. It pulls me out of this horrendous hell broth time and time again, bringing me back to reality. Another chance to begin again.
Wow. I'm not ready to take over the mic yet, Monty, after hearing that last poem. Thank you, Marley. That was really powerful. Not just your creative expression of the word choice that you used, but the way you just delivered it was really brave and
amazing,
moving. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who participated in the program and everybody who presented today. What great work, what powerful stuff. So thank you all. And thanks everybody for being here.